Hello, Night Nation. I'm Trey Strelko, joined by Adam Eaton. Welcome in to Sons of UCF Live. Adam, I feel like we haven't talked in this forum in a couple of weeks.
It has been a while. First off, hopefully everyone's recovering nicely from Hurricane Milton. Hopefully everyone's safe out there and getting things back to order. But we've got a fun one tonight, Trace. This is the only UCF podcast with the host that was on an airplane for 6 hours. And another guy who may or may not be in his kitchen. I can't really tell you. But on this episode, we have Around the Box, or What's in the Box, rather. We have
Around the box maybe. You've been away for 2 weeks. You forgot the names of the segments.
Uniformity. We got Big 12 with Jeff Allen. We've got great guests from Iowa State and former UCF defensive back Derek Hallman joining us. So stick around. You picked a good one to come back to, friends.
Yeah, let's begin with this. I know we've talked on various UCF shows throughout the week about where this team stands right now. But let me ask you about your level of fandom here. Some people have gone into meltdown mode, given up, changed their name of their Twitter handles, going through those stages of grief. Where are you in this process?
I am frustrated with the current results that we're seeing on the field. I am not pleased with the way the team is sort of playing and their lack of ability to kind of get things together. But I'm here week in and week out, man. So I think you can be frustrated with the team and not like certain elements, if that's player, if that's coach, if that's, uniform, whatever it is that you're not happy about. I think you have the right to be displeased about certain factors, but that doesn't mean you're not a fan anymore, right? So we're on the air. We're going to keep doing shows, no matter if UCF wins the next 6 or loses the next 6, maybe. So I am frustrated, but when I walked on a campus in 1998, I signed up for this, and so I'm here. I'm here. I'm stuck. You're stuck with me, but that doesn't mean I'm happy. And I don't think you have to be happy as a fan with where things are at right now. I think it's totally okay to look at the product in the field and the direction of the program and have questions, have concerns, want to see some changes. I think that's okay. I don't think just because you may be out on the coach means you're out on the program. I think those are two completely separate things.
Yeah. Imagine doing a show during the 2015 season. I've talked about this before, being on a podcast, and you don't know that they're going to lose every week. You have hope. There's going to be some light at the end of the tunnel. And then you look back how difficult it was to talk about that. And we don't know what the next 6 games are going to bring, but oh my goodness, I think about the off season, and this is a labor of love for us, and we're so glad to be able to connect with so many Knights fans, not only across Central Florida, the state of Florida, but all across the country through Sons of UCF shows. But when we get to spring ball, no matter the outcome of this season, and we hear about the booms and the transfer portal, I'm just going to be a little bit more skeptical. I'd already been edging that way. I'm just trying to be grounded about all of this. You fan however you want. If you want to turn on the program, that's up to you. I can't get to that point of being miserable about things and not do a show like this week in and week out. But I certainly am going to be a little more skeptical about all of the promises that we get told.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair perspective, right? And let's not forget coaches, players. I mean, in some respects, they're salespeople, right? They're selling you on what's going to happen on the good of the program. And it's easy to fall to like, oh my God, we got this player, we got that player. But I do agree. I think if the transfer portal specifically has taught us nothing over the last 3 years, is there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees with any player you pick from the portal. And you can look at UCF's classes the last 3 years and who's the best player out of the portal. Some of the bigger names that we all fawned over ended up doing a little to nothing here at UCF. And a guy like Jason Johnson ended up having a really solid career. So I think it's to each his own. I think, take what coaches say with a grain of salt, but I think that is a good lesson, because we all bought in. We put our straw in the Kool-Aid this year, and we were all in, and everyone said we were all in, and all of a sudden we are all out.
Yeah, of course, the big news a week ago was breaking that KJ Jefferson would be benched. I thought it was Eric Lopez's statement during Around the Kingdom when he said maybe a little premature. Maybe they beat Cincinnati with KJ Jefferson, and it brings us to this week. Is KJ Jefferson still maybe the best quarterback on the roster that might not be playing? And the second question for you is, who do you think gets the nod at starter? It doesn't mean they're going to play very much, but if you had to guess going in, where do you think Gus and crew go?
I have a hard time buying that KJ is the best quarterback on the roster. Now, he may have the most experience on the roster. He may have seen the most of any quarterback on the roster, but in terms of decision making, in terms of being able to make a big play, in terms of I'm only going to interpret what coaches are saying. It sounded like, if you read between the lines, that the coaches were continually doing things to try to get KJ comfortable, and for whatever reason, that just wasn't clicking. If it was play calls, if it was he wasn't trusting what he was seeing, he didn't know what he was seeing. There was something amiss there. So I think until you can tell me that's been completely worked out, and I saw 5 games of it or 4 games of it to tell me that really hadn't been, then I'm skeptical. I think the best.
Do you think they win the Cincinnati game? They lose 19-13. They start EJ Colson, 17-year-old EJ Colson. They go to Ja'Kurrie Brown. Do they win though?
I don't, because what's the quarterback mistake that was made that you say, okay, KJ does that differently, right? Like Johnny Richardson, 2 fumbles. That has nothing to do with the quarterback in some respects, right? Maybe the game is called differently. Maybe the flow is different, but I don't look back at that game and go, man, we were that one throw away, or we had that one. I feel like the quarterback was relatively interchangeable. I don't think the mistakes you saw against Cincinnati were specific to the quarterback position.
And now who do you think should get the nod this week?
I'm going to go Ja'Kurrie Brown. I mean, I think again he showed a little bit of speed and athleticism at the QB position. I do think he's got to get some stuff worked out. There was a play. I know you were in the stands, Trace, or in the press box. You couldn't see this. There was one play specifically. I want to say it was second half. He pulled the ball and took it on the QB sweep, and RJ Harvey was visibly frustrated. Was like, hit his hands on his knee pads, right? So I think you got to work out like that dynamic between RJ and Ja'Kurrie running. He had a live arm. I think there are a couple throws he wants back that, maybe he puts on a receiver or two, leads a receiver, come differently. But I think he showed flashes. So I say roll with Ja'Kurrie Brown. I think EJ Colson has a future, but I don't know how you develop him in the fire like this, right? So I think you go with Ja'Kurrie. Maybe there's a package or two for EJ coming in, but I think Ja'Kurrie showed enough flash on Saturday that I think there's something there we can work with.
All of which sounds very logical, but may not be Gus Malzahn's mindset. So I'm not entirely going to be surprised if we see EJ Colson out there to start the game. Gus on Monday saying that it would be Ja'Kurrie Brown that gets those first reps, but that was a long time ago now, a couple of days removed, and I'm not going to be surprised if we see EJ Colson, which brings us to this weekend's game now, right? The Knights have barely led. What is it? Half a minute, 50 seconds in Big 12 play. If not for that big comeback, you'd have wins over New Hampshire and Sam Houston. So Gus can say that perhaps some goals remain, but they have a tough one now against an undefeated Iowa State in Ames, a blackout, I guess, for them. They're wearing the all black uniforms and 60,000 plus, one of the bigger stadiums in the Big 12. They have their work cut out for them on the road though, Adam.
Yeah, this is not going to be an easy test for this team. Obviously, you saw the struggles like at TCU, when they're at TCU, right? I mean, it hasn't been a great road team under the Gus Malzahn era. So this is going to be a struggle. Again, unless you're starting KJ, which seems unlikely, you're going to be starting a quarterback who's never played in this stadium before, right? A quarterback who's making his first Big 12 start, like a second for EJ Colson, if you want to count that. But so either way, you're going to have some experience there. So it's going to be a tough opportunity for the Knights. But we've heard about this toughing together. Right. Someone told me on Monday, this is the second half of the season, Trey. So maybe this is the time we turn everything around right here. We turn it all around. But someone asked a question in the mailbag. This would be the most Gus thing ever to win this game. And then we all get back on the bandwagon. And then
no, not everybody's getting back on that bandwagon.
All right. A lot of people get back on the bandwagon and then the wheels fall off.
No. Well, let's hear from head coach Gus Malzahn from Monday on his presser on the challenge that awaits the Knights in Ames.
We're playing a team, top 10 team in the country right now, Iowa State. You watch them on film, very impressed in all 3 phases. Their head coach is one of the better head coaches in the country. You look at their defense, they're number 5 in the country, I think, in points. They play an odd front, similar to what we saw last week. They have a lot of veteran guys. I mean, when you look at their roster, a lot of these guys have played a lot of football. They know their answers. Their run fits are very impressive, and they're a physical team offensively. They control the clock. They do a good job with their run. Their quarterback is very, very efficient. And they got 2 receivers that both, I think, have 500 yards. So really a well-balanced offense. So, it's an opportunity for us. We're looking forward to going and playing one of the better teams in the country in their home field. I know it's going to be a good environment, and so we're looking forward to playing them.
Yeah, I don't believe he's looking forward to playing them at all. Not when he described in the way that he did. They're very balanced. They can do this. They can do that. I don't believe a word
Yeah,
of what he's saying.
Your bestie on Twitter here. This sounds like every soundbite from Gus every week. That is a very fair statement.
There are some sound bites. That should be a game that we play at some point where we just pull the sound bite and you have to guess which week it's from, because
Wow.
it could be from any post game or week of interview. Must read now on sonsofUCF.com. Our friend Brian W. Peterson with a column, like Gus, I've got no answers for you. Brian takes his fandom, weighs him down when they lose. I await now what columns lie ahead for Brian and Dolly and others. It's a difficult time. Let's dig into what ails the Knights a little bit more with former UCF DB Derek Hallman, back 2007 to 2010. He knows good football. He joins us on Sons of UCF Live. Derek, welcome in.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Doing well. All right, this is a family show, but we're giving you a notice, folks. You may hear some things you don't want to hear. Derek, what's the state of this team? They were 3-0 a couple of weeks ago. They have not looked good. A bench quarterback, and now they go to face number 9 Iowa State on the road. What's your feeling about what you're seeing?
I'm not sure, what the temperament is in the locker room, but I have no doubt about the talents of this team. Me and my former teammates, and just guys that have played football in general, at the collegiate level, who are transparent and introspective with themselves, will all say the kids of today are definitely bigger, stronger, faster, and more athletic than we were, just across the board, speaking collectively. And the thing that separated our generation from them is I don't think they're as tough, whether that be physically and or mentally. And of course that's on a case-by-case basis. But as far as the locker room is concerned, I think a part of it has to do with coaching, honestly, and not getting playmakers the ball on offense, and then not making sure that we're playing assignment football defensively. And that's the part that drives me crazy overall, because defensively, it just looks like schematically we don't make enough adjustments throughout the game, and we don't truly have a game plan for the guys that we're scheming against. Because
other than that,
yeah,
I don't hear a ringing endorsement of new defensive coordinator Ted Roof's approach.
You won't hear it from me, and I'm very outspoken about that until I see something to prove otherwise. I ain't a believer.
I know you can't just look at sack totals, but you do also have to look at sack totals, and they just have not been getting to the quarterback. I know they're close, and these quarterbacks are getting the ball out fast, but we've heard this now for 6 weeks, 6 games.
Yeah, that ain't really on. I mean, part of it could be on coaching, but it's just ability. We just, for the first time in a long time, in my opinion, I feel like we've always had at least one good pass rusher for at least the past 15 years. Even on the down years, we were always able to get to the quarterback at least once a game. And, I'm sure they're working diligently throughout the week to work on pass rush moves. And I know that's a part of the reason that we bring a lot of pressure, because, we haven't been getting to the quarterback, but we ain't getting home blitzing either. So I prefer we just play base defense and just stop them that way.
Let's talk offense for a second, Derek. How obviously a quarterback change against Cincinnati. A, do you think that was the right move to maybe go to a different guy? And B, did you like what you saw out of Ja'Cory or EJ on Saturday?
Hold on, baby. Daddy's on the phone. I liked what I saw out of both of them, honestly. Shh, Daddy's on the phone, baby.
See, it's a family show.
Both of them, honestly.
See, Derek, it's a family show.
Absolutely. I liked what I saw out of both of them, honestly. Ja'Cory looks more mature. Obviously, he has more playing time, being that he came from University of Miami, where he got a lot of playing time and reps. But the freshman looked great as well. And, the future looks bright at that position.
Do you think it was time to bench KJ? Do you think that was the right move for the team?
I think it was 2 weeks too late, honestly, you ask me. But I'm not a coach. But the things that I saw this season, I saw it in the spring. We were talking like, man, he doesn't throw the ball as good as I thought he did, at Arkansas. But, I'm not a huge Arkansas fan, so I only saw highlights, really. But when Gus signed him, I was like, man, Gus finally got his guy, that Cam Newton build, big physical quarterback. And you saw some of the highlights where he were just break tackles in the pocket, outside of the pocket, make plays with his feet, and throw balls on the run. But I just haven't seen much of that since he came to the Kingdom.
How does that kind of change go over in the locker room? I know obviously you're not in this locker room, but I mean, you went through the Greco Calabrese years, right? How does that change a quarterback like that go over in the locker room?
You excited? I remember, when we got Brett Hodges, just how excited my junior year the receivers were. And then when we got Jeff Godfrey my senior year as a freshman, defensively, we were more excited. Offensively, they were up and down because they were unsure about Jeff initially. But, proof is in the play. He produced.
So this team is 3-3. It's got a difficult stretch now, back-to-back with Iowa State and BYU. At what point do you just say we're going to be in a rebuild mode and let's turn it over to the young kids?
Never.
No.
I know that's not what the coaches are saying, and I definitely know that's not what the players are saying. This isn't the NFL level where it's just like, we'll hang it up, get some good draft picks next year, because you want to appeal to high school recruits, and to do that, you need to win. And
He'll be back. Just trust him.
Trust the
usually
process.
It's usually a phone call. A phone call came through. Typically, what happens? We do this a lot.
Well, we filibuster a little bit. What do you make of what Mr. Hallman has said so far?
Well, no, I guess I was wrong. He didn't come back. Yeah, look, it's not, if you follow him on Twitter, which by the way, you should during a game,
he's a good follow
at corporate_Q. I mean, he's not shy about his opinions about what he sees from the team. He's not shy about what he sees defensively. And he's not shy about rejoining the show because he's back.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Welcome back.
Trying to end the call.
See? What'd I tell you, Chase?
What was I saying? Oh, but no, it's a good check. I know those guys want to go out there and win. You don't practice so hard all week to go out there and lose on Saturday. And I think while we have the ability and the talent to win every game, we'll see what happens this weekend. Hey, I'm on a call. I got to call you back. Did you need something?
Actually, so you can make some money real quick. Hold on a second, Derek. You can make some money.
Take a look on screen, Derek.
We got a guy here who will $100 to your favorite charity if you bring your child on camera.
Oh, okay, Denver, come here, baby.
He's a man of his word.
Come here, Mama. She's talking to Mom. Come here. You want to say hi? Come here.
Here we go. He's a future knight, ladies and gentlemen. Hi.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
You just helped your dad earn $100 for his favorite charity. Courtesy of Robert. 2 letters, 2 words. Good seeing you.
If she needs anything. But no, I think we'll still, be a bowl eligible team. We're gonna shock some people with some of the wins that we have. Hey, yeah, she's feeling better, but we'll call you back.
Well, she can't go in the room. I was
Because she brought me the iPad.
Our next guest, Derek, is with the Des Moines Register. I wonder if we'll see similar distractions.
Now, I think we'll squeak out some wins, and I honestly think we're gonna. It's gonna start this weekend. I think we'll shock Iowa State this weekend, man, because we play some good football down here. We just haven't been playing it as of late, and I think we have all the talent and the ability. And with the change at the quarterback position, it re-energized this team. And I think you saw it last week, even though we fell short.
Let me be devil's advocate on a point. It's just year 2 in the Big 12. You got to stack up the recruiting classes and build up the depth and give them a break. They're in transition. Any truth?
No, we weren't talent depleted going into the Big 12. If anything, the talent supposedly, if you look at recruiting rankings, which I don't base talent off recruiting rankings, but if you look at that, the talent is actually supposedly better than what we had before. The problem is with NIL and keeping kids, guys get offers to make more money elsewhere. You'll lose some talent that way. And then a huge part of it is guys want to play. In this era, back when I was in college, if you didn't play, you just sat around and worked until it was your opportunity, or guys would transfer and sit out a year. Now, hey, I ain't playing, I'm gone.
Derek, who on defense has impressed you? Is there a player or two that you've liked that's really popped to you on defense?
Overall, even though I didn't think he had his best game last week, linebacker 3.
Deshaun Pace?
Yeah, Deshaun Pace. I think Deshaun Pace is probably my favorite player defensively. He didn't have his best game last week, but just overall, I like him a lot. I'm always looking at the linebackers anyway, so.
Let's talk a little bit about the offensive line, Derek. I think if UCF wants to run the football, they have to be able to obviously get push up front. Seems like the last couple of games, the line has not been getting a lot of push. RJ's not getting a lot of holes. I know teams are kind of stacking the box. What have you seen as you've seen UCF's offensive line this year?
Again, I'm not self-scouting our offense. I'm on the outside looking in, watching it on TV and in the couple games that I saw in person. But I think the line has improved. It's just that teams are game planning for us. We have our favorite running plays that are easily identifiable, in my opinion. Just changing it up, whether it be changing up the blocking schemes, changing up the formations, things like that. They do need to play better to get some push up front, but a part of it is teams are stacking the box because we haven't shown the ability to throw the ball consistently.
We're in a little bit of a bubble doing a show like this, but you get the sense people are wobbling on the Gus bus. Where are you with head coach Gus Malzahn?
I think Gus was good for, where we were going. One thing you can't deny about Gus at UCF, at Auburn, and everywhere he's been prior to that is the guy knows how to recruit, flat out. He knows how to go and get talent. Right now, I think we need to just reevaluate the way we're approaching things, whether that's him giving up play calling, hint, hint, or, being honest with his buddy on the defensive side of the ball. And I think they're both very stubborn and set in their ways because they've been doing this a lot longer than I've been alive. But, the truth is the truth. We haven't been very good. We haven't been coaching very well. And they need to look at themselves and say, hey, how do I fix this? And I know Gus doesn't want to give up play calling duties, but I think it's time.
It's probably easy with how KJ Jefferson has disappointed to say there's too much reliance on the transfer portal. You got to find the right balance there. And they do have these recruiting classes that they have stacked up that have been strong. What do you think the right balance is in this era?
I'm a fan of the portal. I've always been a fan of guys having the ability to transfer because coaches can leave at any given time. So I feel like players should have that ability as well. But when it comes to the portal, I'm a firm believer in building a solid foundation, and that's in recruiting, not in the portal. I like consistency. So I'm not as, conservative as Dabo Swinney when he doesn't want to go get anybody out of the portal. But I do believe that you need to have a solid foundation of guys, and that truly starts in the interior, building from the center, a solid, and then on defense, a good D tackle, a good linebacker, a good free safety, and then building out from there because good defenses start at the middle, good offense start up the middle. And we need to go get guys out of high school who are willing to commit to this program. And it's hard to judge character, especially in this day and age with the use of social media. But, we need to find guys and evaluate guys who want to be here for the long run.
Well, Derek, as you said, you obviously played in a different era, but I got to ask you, what are your thoughts on kind of the new phenomenon of playing 4 games and then opting out, leaving your team? How does that sit with a guy like you, who obviously, again, you played in a different era, you said off the top, but how does that sit for a guy like you, guys playing 4 games and saying, hey, I'm sitting out, I'm gone?
I mean, that's their prerogative, but I think when it comes to the NIL, I think guys shouldn't see a dime until week 5. That's just how I feel. And they say, well, that's pay for play. I mean, call it what you want, but a spade is a spade. It is pay for play. Guys are paid to come to certain programs and play football. It is what it is. And, I can acknowledge that. But you combat that and say, hey, we'll pay you to use your name, image, and likeness, but we don't want to release these funds until you play 5 games for us.
So, Derek, if I put you in the locker room right before kickoff this Saturday and you get to talk to the defense, what kind of speech would you give them? What would you tell the defense if you get a chance to talk to them before they hit the field on Saturday?
Do your job. And I'm sure Ted Roof is saying that because most defensive coordinators do. Do your job. Don't worry about the next man doing his job. If you do your job, if you win your one-on-one, we'll win this football game. They're not better than you guys. They're not.
It says in your bio, 2007 to 2010, you may be last of a breed. I don't know that when we do future interviews with guys, we're going to see 4 years of playing at one school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice. It's rare. It really is rare. And, it was, we had some tragedy, not on the field. It was more so in off-season training when we lost Eric Clencher at the end of my freshman year. And a lot of guys wanted to transfer. But the one thing everybody knows back then, if you didn't have a legitimate hardship, do you really want to sit out of football for a year? So guys stay put.
Yeah, different time. Derek Hallman, we appreciate you spending some time with us, as well your daughter. And Robert will connect with you for a donation to your favorite charity.
Oh, man, you can donate to the charity of his choice, man. It's fun.
Derek Hallman, thanks for being with us on Sons of UCF Live. Let's get a win this weekend.
As always, man, I appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak with you all, and I think we will get a win this week.
I love it.
All right. You heard it from Derek. Thank you much.
Good night.
Every time we do one of these interviews, I ask you now, are we more encouraged by what we've heard or how are we feeling?
Yeah, I think what's interesting about, and one of the things I try to do, Trace, is inform myself as best I can. I'm not a football expert by any means. So I like to talk to people, hear from people. And I'll give a quick plug for a friend of ours, friend of the program, Andy, UCF XOS on Twitter. And he's been really talking all week, if you follow him on social media, about it comes down to execution, right? It comes down to executing the plays that are called and doing it the right way. And it's kind of what you just heard from Derek, right? If you put yourself in positions to be successful, if you make the play you're supposed to make, there's opportunity for UCF to be in games and win games. It just has not happened that way. So the optimist side says, hey, if we can ever get that nailed down, then this is a football team that has the ability to play well and maybe win some games. The problem is we haven't seen that yet. So I think that's the challenge is I don't know that we're getting completely out talented across the board. It just seems to be execution and fundamentals at times. And if you can fix that in a week and all of a sudden it shows up on Saturday, then sure, you got to feel good about it. But I don't know how you can bank on that based on what you've seen so far.
I know you've been traveling. Did you get your Big 12 picks in for the week?
I did not. No. Is that due today?
Well, don't forget. Don't forget. Okay. I don't want you to fall too far behind me. I know you're looking up at me in the standings. A lot of people are. I'm having a good year, and our friend, what was his name? UCF Mike, the artist formerly known, now 31 and 39. You'd think for someone that wouldn't put up with a lot of losing, he certainly knows of it. Wow. Pick him. Let's go to Jeff Allen with our Big 12 minute.
The schedule this week kicks off with some Friday Big 12 After Dark action as number 13 BYU's hosts Oklahoma State. That one will be on ESPN at 10:15. On Saturday, Arizona at Cincinnati, 12 noon on ESPN+. Houston takes on Kansas, 3:30 on ESPN+. Colorado squares off with Arizona at 4 o'clock on Fox. Also at 4, it's Baylor battling Texas Tech on ESPN2. Number 17, Kansas State wrangles with West Virginia at 7:30 on Fox. TCU visits Iowa State at 10:30 on ESPN, and the Knights are under the lights in Ames when they're going to try to break their 3-game losing streak against 9th-ranked Iowa State. That one will be at 7:30 on FS1. With your Big 12 Minute, I'm Jeff Allen.
We had some fun when we were in Las Vegas talking about Matt Campbell's tan, the Iowa State head coach.
Matt Campbell looks like Cancun, 1,000%.
Was well tanned for living in the Ames, Iowa area. I asked him about what it's like to play in Ames and that home field advantage.
Oh, I would just say we've got such a great fan base. There is no pro sports in the state of Iowa, and you got 2 Power 5 programs that play, and being in the middle of the state and kind of the success we've been able to have over the last 9 years, you feel like it's made our place really special for our college football game Saturday. So we're really fortunate and really appreciative of our great fan base.
Well, let's get to know more about the Iowa State Cyclones, the top 10 ranked Cyclones, with Des Moines Register reporter Eugene Rapay, who joins us now. I probably butchered your last name, Eugene. Well, give it to me. Did I mess it up?
No, that was perfect. Rapay. Rapay is the way.
Well, very, very good. Now it's all downhill from here now with my questions. Welcome into Sons of UCF Live. What do you think Iowa State does better, offense or defense at this point in the season? They are undefeated and into that top 10.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Defense has definitely been the backbone of this team's success. They just always seem to find a way to make things uncomfortable for their opponents, especially in the second half. I don't know what they do behind the scenes there in the locker room or what they say at halftime, but when it comes into the second half, they've been holding their opponents to just 4.3 points per game in the second half alone.
Did you say 4? You said 4 points.
4.3
for a UCF team that's offensive output has gone down week by week. You're not encouraging Knights fans by this stuff.
No, yeah, I'm sorry. But if there is any respite, the last couple of teams did find a way to get some points on the board, especially West Virginia. They scored in the second half. Cyclones, they definitely excel on defense. So I would say that's definitely their strong suit for sure.
And a veteran unit. They had a lot of returners.
Yeah, veteran unit. One thing that's been super interesting, though, is they've been able to stay an effective defensive unit despite having a depleted linebacker core. I mean, they are now playing walk-ons. They're playing guys who you would have never thought would go out there and actually contribute plays. So that's been big for them. But their secondary, John says Williams, has been big time. Bo Freeler is just the leader. J.R. Singleton up front on the D-line. So a lot of experienced guys that have been helping those young guys just come along as well.
Eugene, tell us about Rocco Becht. What kind of quarterback is he? What does he do well when he's playing for the Cyclones?
Rocco Becht is a gamer. One thing that has always impressed me about him is just his poise. He never really gets too high, and he never really gets down when he does make a mistake. He makes good decisions. He plays within himself. He doesn't force the ball. But as of lately, he and the offense have been really picking it up. They've been able to finish drives well. He's a guy that you can count on, and he's definitely, despite being a sophomore, one of the biggest leaders on this team.
He's got two pretty good stud receivers on the outside in Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. Tell us a little bit more about those two guys and what kind of challenges they bring to opposing defenses.
Yeah, it's hard to call one guy Batman, one man Robin. It seems like each week it flips back and forth. Both of those guys are just dynamic threats. Higgins is more of like the big play threat. He's got the nice frame. He probably projects better to the pro level. But Noel is right there too. I mean, that guy, he can just break one loose. You never know what can happen. They keep defenses on their toes because just when you think you have one guy contained, the other guy will break through. And then next thing you know, the other guy's coming down with a catch. So they've been a nice 1-2 punch, and they've been very, very big in the passing game.
So how do you beat this Iowa State team? No one's done it so far this season.
Yeah, to beat this Iowa State team, I'd say you have to catch them early. A lot of their lapses.
And UCF doesn't score early.
Well, yeah.
This is great news.
One thing that UCF does
So
do
there's really nothing working here in this conversation.
Well, one thing UCF does do well, though, is, you guys do have the nice rushing game. And I feel like if you can hold onto the ball, take possession of it, and just eat up clock, just keep that Iowa State defense on for as long as you can. Just don't make any mistakes. I think UCF can, make it interesting. One thing about the Iowa State offense, though, is they've at times also shown that they start off slowly. They get better as the game goes on. But right now, like if I were UCF, I would just say eat up clock, take care of the ball, and don't make mistakes, because that Iowa State defense will make sure you pay for it when they get a takeaway. I mean, they excel at that. But if UCF can take care of the ball, who knows?
How did you get Gus Malzahn's speech to the team? Because I'm sure that's some of what he might be saying to them that they need to follow. What's the fan support for Matt Campbell? He's had a run of success there for a program that hasn't always had such success.
Yeah, he's really done a great job. I mean, he's the winningest coach in Iowa State history, which it's incredible that he's been able to put that together in, I think, 9 seasons here. So he has gained a lot of respect from fans, especially over the last 4 or 5 years. I'm looking at some of the comments and the tweets at you guys. I'm chuckling at them. But yeah, the fans are really behind Matt Campbell, and especially just during this time right now for Iowa State athletics. I mean, men's basketball, women's basketball, football are all thriving right now, and it just seems like fan support is just at an all-time high.
I just want to mention on that fan support, when they've played in Orlando in bowl games, boy, do those fans travel. they've sent 25, 30,000 people to Orlando for bowl games. So we're looking forward to just a raucous environment that's going to be something else that UCF will have to contend with. But Matt Campbell has had a lot of success, and you think he's a long hauler there, or do you think he could be lured away for something else?
Oh man, you can never say never, especially nowadays. I think everybody has a price, and just with the reign of success he's had lately, I wouldn't be surprised if he listens to some of these offers. I'm sure. Recently, we published an article. Where does Matt Campbell rank among the top paid coaches in the country? I think in the Big 12, he's like middle of the pack, and then nationally, he's probably, if I remember off the top of my head, like in the 50th range. I mean, after a year like this, if he gets the bag, I could see him leaving, unfortunately, for Iowa State fans. But hey, you never know. You never know.
Be good time to be his agent, who's probably thinking that he may have some leverage here.
Probably also in Cancun. A good friend of ours, Dolly, wants to know, is this the first time you think Iowa State's going to get 10 wins?
Oh, man. The new guy comes in, and then he makes a bold declaration like this, that this will be the year, and then who knows what happens after this. Right now, they're very much in good shape. I will say, though, that November lineup that they have upcoming is looking like a bear. But right now, I mean, if they win this Saturday, they improve to 7-0. 3 more after that, maybe, I don't want to be the guy that jinxes it, but I will say that their chances are pretty good.
How what's the perception among Iowa State fans and some of the media who covers Iowa State? What's the perception of UCF? Obviously, a team coming off 3 straight losses right now. Things aren't obviously going in a perfect direction for UCF. What's the perception amongst kind of your fellow media members and some of the coaches and players you've talked to?
It's interesting. Some people think that this might be like a trap game. Like, it's either Iowa State wins solidly or UCF makes it interesting and makes it scary. And I think that's just respect to UCF's offensive output. I mean, the rushing game can give teams fits, and Iowa State doesn't exactly stuff teams in the backfield. They don't really get a big push up front. So if they can control the line, who knows? So right now, even though UCF is reeling, I mean, when you're an undefeated team, you're going to get a team's best shot. So I don't think anybody's looking over anybody at this point.
You heard from Matt Campbell when we interviewed him at Big 12 Media Days before he came on, saying that, with not a pro team, they're very rabid fans for college sports. From your perspective at the Des Moines Register, is it lean one way or the other, Iowa State, or you feel it's a pretty even split in the state?
So it's interesting. I just got here to Iowa actually 2 weeks ago from New York, where there are a lot of pro sports teams.
Oh my! Now this is a little culture. Yeah. New York to Iowa.
Wow. Yeah, Iowa.
This may be the first time this has ever happened in the history of.
Yeah, there are no college. They're not real college fan bases, I would say, in New York. So this has just been a complete role reversal, just to see ride or die. Like, even when I was driving through the state, like, they take this is an actual religion, and it's a war between Iowa and Iowa State fans. From what I've noticed, just being around Des Moines, I've seen more Iowa State influence, but I'm sure when you get close to Iowa City, it's probably all Hawkeyes from there. But yeah, I will say I've seen both fans well represented.
New York's got a lot of rural places too. Where in New York were you?
I was just in Westchester County, so I frequented the city all the time. I mean, I was just like 10 minutes away. So yeah, I've seen it all. I've also traveled upstate, so I've seen all sides of New York.
So a little bit of culture shock in 2 weeks there?
A little bit. I will say Des Moines definitely punches above its weight class. But the rest of Iowa, when you get outside of the city, it's definitely the farms and cornfields that people expect it to be.
How long does it take to get outside the city?
Probably 50 minutes. I will say everyone in Iowa nice is definitely a thing. They're very nice over here.
So I assume that's a new place, Eugene. Have you decorated yet, or do you have your decor ready there in that new spot?
The core, as in the mattress, the desk, the computer, some cookware. Yeah, that's all for now.
Well, I'm curious, what surprised you so far about covering this Iowa State team? What surprised you about getting there, kind of seeing the fan base, seeing this team? What's been surprising to you?
Just going into it, the perception that Matt Campbell gave you guys, just because there are no pro teams, this is really it. And you hear that and you go, oh, okay, I've went to school at Villanova. Like, they were crazy for the basketball team over there. the Big Five was big too. Like, I've seen passionate fan bases, but then once I got here, you see Caitlin Clark is still like a goddess here. Iowa State every week is just insane. The fandom is really at another level. Like it is. I honestly, it's past religion at this point. It's past cult. It's just another level.
You mentioned basketball was Basketball Media Day at UCF this Thursday. High anticipation for basketball from Iowa State this year.
Oh, yeah. Top 5 in the AP ranking. First time in program history they've ever gotten a preseason top 5 ranking. TJ Altenberger, with their top 4 scorers back, it's looking like a big season for them on the hardwood as well.
And you mentioned women's basketball.
Yeah, Audie Crooks coming in at number 8. I mean, I don't know if there are many teams out there that are top 10 in men's, women's, and football at this point.
Can't relate. No, can't relate.
Yeah. So when you were looking for a job, you went, I need top 10 programs or I'm not going there. And they said, we've got them all here at Iowa State. It's sort of, to me, with Texas, Oklahoma in the league, and you know what Kansas does in basketball and some of the other programs, Iowa State gets slept on a little bit, I think, in the national profile.
I think so, but I feel like over the last 2 years with Otzelberger and what he's just done over the last few years, I think that people are starting to notice, and that is definitely indicative with this preseason ranking for sure.
What's your collegiate allegiance?
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say right now. I mean, I'm sure there are people from Villanova who, if they heard this, they were like, "Oh man, how's this guy not talking about the Wildcats right now?" But yeah, at this point, it's just wherever I'm needed.
Wherever you go, that's who you're rooting for.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. Looking forward. You're going to be at the game, right? You'll be up in the press box?
Yes. I'll be there on Saturday.
I will look you up on Saturday. Looking forward to the experience at Iowa State. And Eugene, thanks so much. Congrats on the new opportunity in Des Moines, and look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Eugene.
All right. Thank you. All right, as I asked you after Derek Hallman, how do you feel now about UCF's chances? Not a lot of weaknesses.
I don't love.
But he said maybe a trap game. I don't know how.
Well,
but,
that's where we are.
UCF did perform pretty well at Oklahoma last year. So they nearly pulled that one.
This is where we are now, Trace. We're a trap game. This is where we fall into now. We're somebody's trap game. This is how we got there. I mean, geez almighty.
We're somebody's trap game.
Unbelievable. Look, I don't love the fact that every strength he listed off is something that we are decidedly not great at. I do like that. Maybe they
may start slow, so you jump out early. We do not start
3-0, right? 3-0 is us jumping out to a big lead around here. Maybe the running game could get going again. I don't like it. I think the environment's going to be kind of underrated, right? I think 65 plus, a blackout night game, undefeated team, top 10. Yeah, I think this is going to be a rabid environment for UCF. And can they stay composed? Can they not make silly mistakes, offsides, false starts, things like that have plagued them the last couple of weeks? So there's definitely a tall task ahead. There's no question about that. I think, as Gus would say, I think everyone can see that.
They got a lot of guys.
Everyone can see that, Trace.
At Iowa State. But you know what? The Knights are going to look good. Gold has made an appearance and in the uniform for this week. Let's turn over to Christian Simmons from the Pegasus podcast to talk a little bit more about what the Knights will be wearing in our fashion report here on Sons of UCF Live.
Well, first off, please excuse the random background. My parents are out of town and I'm watching their dogs while they are gone, but we have some great uniform news. UCF football may not be back, but gold sure is. We are getting this is the UCF road combo, right? Gold helmets, white jerseys, black pants. I think that's just the most on-brand road combination they have. It always looks great. It looks great, especially with these new gold helmets they unveiled last year. And we are finally seeing for the first time this year, awesome helmets with the white stack UCF. I mean, this look is UCF. And I know it's what the fans have been clamoring for. But I do have to say on that note really quickly, everyone shrieking, why wouldn't they ever have gold? And gold is finally back. The last 2 uniforms have had gold, guys. They've had the chrome gold stack decals. They were not the black and white looks that people were mad about earlier in the season. And listen, last 2 times they wore this combo, that was a loss to Texas Tech on the road and a loss to Oklahoma on the road. So maybe not the luckiest combo as of late, but let's be real. They're probably losing to Iowa State no matter what. At least they're going to look really good while doing so. And I think that's a win in its own. So very excited to see the return of gold helmets this weekend.
There's upbeat right there. They're going to lose no matter what they're wearing. If you did burn every uniform combo when UCF lost, I don't know what they'd wear.
Yeah, we got nothing left at this point. So I could have cut out that part where he said he was dog sitting, but I decided I had to leave that in there.
Let's talk about Christian and Bailey and the Pegasus podcast, a little bit of synergy with the Sons of UCF.
Yeah, I mean, those guys do great work. It's not easy to put out a show week in and week out, and they're consistently.
It's going to get harder, Adam. It'll get harder.
And they're consistently putting out really good content. So, we'll have an opportunity to work on some stuff in the future. Their pod will now appear on our YouTube channel, so you can get the audio feed wherever you currently get the Pegasus pod. But if you want to go to our YouTube channel, we'll have the Pegasus pod there as well. So, I longtime admirers of the work both Christian and Bailey do. They bleed black and gold like the rest of us. So excited to figure out some stuff to work on with those guys throughout the rest of the season and beyond.
Yes, welcome to the team. All right, time to look at some news and notes around the kingdom.
This is Eric Henry of 24/7 Sports, but more importantly, UCF Night, class of 2014, and you're watching Around the Kingdom.
I like how he puts all his press credentials and has them all framed behind him. I think that's a good look. Men's basketball with Media Day as well. The women, we will, over time, with your travels and just getting ready for the show, haven't had a chance to upload those interviews. But Andrew Cherico and I were out there, and we'll have some of that sound coming up on Sun's YouTube channel. But they are home for a rare open to the public exhibition game this Sunday. Florida Gulf Coast coming to town. You're definitely going to need to get the roster because there are a lot of new faces, 11 in total, 9 through the transfer portal. That's Sunday at 4:00. Free admission, free parking, all for charity Team Impact that gives opportunities for kids facing serious illnesses. So, we're a basketball school, Adam.
I saw a picture of you with Mustafa Thiam? Chim.
Yeah, Chim.
Way off. He's tall. He's tall.
7'2", put on 20 pounds of muscle. I'm not 7'2", so he towered over me a bit. What was interesting? I love, Coach Dawkins alludes to something almost like, well, you guys know Jalen Sellers, who's one of the 2 returning starters along with Darius Johnson. He broke his left hand during the Italy trip last year. That affected his play all year. No. Everybody was looking around at one another. That's not something, and you almost have to get, I don't know if you get specific. I think every press conference is now, Coach, did anybody break a finger, a toe? You got to ask very specifically, but I didn't know it, and I don't think anybody else did.
And I saw that. That's interesting because he did struggle a lot with his shot last year, which I think was surprising to a lot of Knight fans. So that explains a little bit about his low shooting percentage. So I saw that he said he's perfectly healthy and ready to kind of rock it and roll. And so that does explain a little bit of some of the struggles we saw last year with his outside shot.
Yeah, we're going to delve more into basketball. It'll be right around the corner when they host Texas A&M.
We start now. I mean, let's just rip the Band-Aid off here, Trace.
Yeah, well, patience. Okay. We've got football, and it'll overlap with basketball. We'll have plenty to fill this show with. Women's soccer right now down 3-1 at the UCF Soccer Complex, number 12 TCU. Knights about to fall to 3-5-5, 1-4-3 in the Big 12. Quite wobbly for Tiffany Roberts Zahadak in year 2 in the Big 12. Knights not performing well. Men's soccer. By the way, the women back home Saturday, Oklahoma State, 12:30 start at the soccer complex. Men's soccer. They lost 2-0 to number 6 Marshall. Marshall, a talented team there in the Sun Belt. Knights really desperate for a win. They're at RPI 70. They host Old Dominion Friday. I think that's a space game. Maybe they'll excel that. They've got Luca Dorado back and Juan V. Munoz in goal. Still wobbly, 3-4-3, 1-3 in the Sun Belt. And volleyball, they swept West Virginia a couple weeks back in Orlando and then went there and promptly lost 3-1 to West Virginia. That was first West Virginia win in the Big 12 in a year. They got that against UCF. So it does not get easier for volleyball. They host number 8 Kansas on Saturday at 1:00 in the venue. So struggle, pick your fall sport. Which one's doing the best? I think everybody's faced struggles this fall for the Knights. All right. We mentioned Around the Kingdom. Eric Lopez and I back tangling. I never know what clip you're going to choose, so I always look forward to this.
It is amazing. 3 weeks ago, we're talking about big noon kickoff, hosting Colorado. Hey, if they win that game, they might be ranked top 25. All the ESPN FPIs had them as a favorite to win the Big 12. Boy, that seems like 100 years ago, doesn't it, Trace? It's unbelievable to fall in this quick of a. I'm still kind of trying to figure this out, how quickly this kind of changed.
You can find the latest around the kingdom up now on the Sons of UCF YouTube channel. It is amazing. It's only been a couple of weeks since 3-0.
It really is. It literally, we were talking about would we be ranked, and now we're talking about will we win another game?
I mean, the height of excitement with the big noon kickoff. Everything was. I don't have to tell you. Women's soccer just gave up a goal. It's now 4-1.
Great.
ECU late. A few moments left in that one. Our friends Clay Pasco and Andrew Cherico out with a new Up All Night, the occasional show that runs on the Sons of UCF YouTube channel. I like the title for this one. The season is cooked, bro.
That's a direct quote from Clay Pasco in that show.
Cooked.
Yes.
Did I say crooked?
I don't know.
Cooked.
Either way, it's all the
Cooked.
same. One could argue some people on our team are crooks, but listen, no, it's whenever you guys are surprised whenever that show comes out, so are we.
So
you enjoy just like the rest of us do.
Well, it is that time again.
So it's a mailbag. So what?
So what? Do you know whose mailbag that is?
It's that time again. Time to open the Brian W. Peterson Sons of UCF mailbag.
I'm too sexy for my shirt.
Literally, I mean, I saw this guy's whole ass.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did this. I zoomed in.
I have honked the horn before.
Yo!
Because I don't really like any of these guys. None of them are my guys.
Maybe a pony.
Giddy up.
Oh, hell yeah.
Again, I know you were traveling, but I do have a work order in.
Yeah. I'm going to have to check the system on that. Yeah, check the system on that. Yeah.
Have a work order in. At Riley Carey 16. Riley Carey 16, who asked the question, what are the 100 things that went wrong after one game? And I said, it's an hour-long show, and he narrowed it down to 10. He goes, what are the positives from Saturday? So we could just be really quick on the response.
Grant Reddick.
Yeah, Grant Reddick.
Made a couple of field goals, right? I mean, I think we weren't quite sure what was going to happen in the kicking game. Grant Reddick, again, not really of any lengthy distance, but at this point, he's the best offensive weapon we got.
Take anything we can get. At @facts_UCF, football has had some very hard stretches in the past, including winless seasons in 04 and 15. Is the current losing streak and outlook worse than those years emotionally for the fans? That's an interesting one. We've lived through those seasons. I don't know. I don't know yet.
Look,
it's going to be a winless season.
Fair. Well, I'm sure they'll start taking wins from us at some point, Trace. But look, I think 04 was a team in transition. I don't know what the expectations were there, right? Kruzek had just left. George O'Leary came in. A bunch of guys left the program. So I don't think that one was too surprising. 15, I think, was a little bit surprising because you felt like off of 14, we had a decent year. I think 15 was kind of surprising. So I'll still give that one the nod. But I can give this one a little bit of a thought because of how much hype was coming into this season and how much we all thought and some of the national media bought into some of this. So I can see how this is a close second, but nothing beats going winless rather in 2015.
Night Fan 94 breaking it in the chat that Chloe Netzel has scored for the Knights. Now down 4-2 with 4.5 minutes to go. Stranger things have happened at ZDADOUSH. Is there anything this team school can do outside of winning the remainder of the games that will bring back the excitement to the fan base again? We're a basketball school, so I hope springs eternal for Johnny Dawkins and all those new faces. That could get the fan base excited. I don't know if it will help football, though.
I mean, if you can find a quarterback in these next 6 games, right? If EJ Colson or Ja'Curry Brown take over and they're playing really well, and you say to yourself, hey, we've got a good young quarterback coming into next season, I think that could get some of the sting out. Not all of it, but if you walked at the end of the year saying, okay, hey, we're 5-7, but we know who our quarterback is going forward, that may take a little sting away.
Michael at Emptiness 4, does the Gus bus have a flat tire, or is it just well overdue for an oil change?
I mean, I think we need to check his Kelly Blue Book
check
value.
Engine light is on.
Like, check his Kelly Blue Book value at this point, because last time I checked, it's like 12 million. And so I don't know what the change could look like. I think something obviously has to make itself available for movement here, whatever that is. I don't know, but his Kelly Blue Book value is too high, I think, at this point, unless someone's going to get really, really rich in a hurry, or he decides to walk away on his own. So I think we're changing the oil, we're changing the tires, putting new steering wheel on, doing all that stuff, and we're running it back again at 25.
Yeah, McGuckin _M6. Is the portal working at UCF or at all? Take a look at the transfer rankings from the past year in the Big 12. Arguably, the 3 best teams in the Big 12 were bottom 4 in the transfer rankings. Of course, all these rankings don't mean anything. Nobody knows. But it's certainly been a mixed bag. No more than high-profile quarterback flameout KJ Jefferson. I don't think UCF has struck gold in the portal.
No, I mean, I don't think UCF has that at all. Now, is it working in college football? If you have the money to acquire talent, then sure, you can build an Ohio State roster. You can build a Miami roster. You can do what Oregon has done and spend heavily and maybe get yourself there. But from UCF, like, I didn't go player by player, but I'm going to take a guess and say for UCF specifically, there's probably been more misses than hits.
Yeah. At Black Gold _Ed, did Taylor Gehring pull his $5 million commitment to UCF football? I think he's referencing that Taylor Gehring has been a little outspoken on the social media about his dislike of what's going on. As you said at the outset of the show, you can dislike what's going on. I have no indication that he's pulling his money. I'm sure Terry Mohajir is certainly encouraging him to remain committed to the program as he is with others. So no indication that that's the case. Golden Knight _2. Is it safe to say the season is officially over? Are you finally off the Gus bus, or do you have faith we will turn the season around? I don't know about turn the season around, but I just can't, in my headspace, I think it's that Josh Heupel thing. It's just go 1-0 this week. I can't think that far out. I don't want to think ahead to a 3-9 or 4-8 kind of season. There was too much of that with George O'Leary. Up 1 year, down. That got to be aggravating. I can't go there.
You didn't answer the question though. Are you off the Gus bus?
Was I on the Gus bus to get on?
Wow. It seems very unlikely the season's going to turn around. So I don't have that element in terms of the Gus bus and whether, you're on or you're off at this point. Again, I think it's very obvious something here has to change. There has to be some sort of meaningful change. And maybe it's not even so much Gus the coach. It's Gus the talent evaluator, Gus the team roster builder, because that clearly hasn't clicked a little bit here this year. So I definitely think there's something that needs to be said for that element. So I'm gonna have a hard time. I'm gonna have a hard time when he stands in front of the podium, either Saturday, Monday, or next season, and says, "We got a roster this year." Like, I think there's a trust repair that has to take place. That I'm at the point where even if we roll out a bunch of changes, I'm still gonna be like, "Is that really gonna work? Is that really?"
Yeah, that's where I am. I'm skeptical of the changes. It's going to be interesting to see if Terry Mohajir insists upon some specific changes.
We have a late minute. So we have a late minute question ad for you, Trace.
Yeah.
I didn't want to miss
Is it
this.
going to not? Am I not going to like it? What was the ratio of smiles to non-smiles? No, I did not. I went for media day at basketball. I did not take that walk. I've got an early morning flight, so there were some things I needed to do for work. So that is in reference to me monitoring whether people are friendly on a walk jog, and I think people need to be friendlier. So I don't know where I'm going with that.
Yeah. What do you need a wave? Do you want to smile? What are you looking for?
I want some acknowledgement. You smile, you wave, you say hi. There's got to be, no, that's fine.
Okay.
We don't have to stop and have a conversation. But if I say hi, if I smile, if I wave at you as we're passing,
are you starting?
There's got to be something.
Are you starting it? So
yes,
when you're,
I'm testing. Yes, I'm initiating. And when people wave or say hi to me, I'm always hi. And we'll extend this to holding doors open for people too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do that. I'm going to get shot sometime because I just go, you're welcome.
That seems like a smart idea.
Yeah. At Brian W. Peterson, is this the one outlier game per season that Gus wins and then everyone forgets we're not very good for a week? It could be. I don't think it is the outlier game. They do host BYU, and you think maybe that could be the one you could get.
Gus is going to Gus at some point.
At FLA Box Breakers, should I take the 13.5? I don't think you should ever gamble on anything UCF related, but that's iffy there. At ABAN Topolis, what do you have more confidence in, keeping the space game winning streak alive against Arizona, or men's hoops winning the home opener against number 13 Texas A&M? And did you ever think people would be asking for
That's a great question.
start of basketball season?
I'm going to go space game right now. Arizona's not looking fantastic. They've had a couple of rough weeks, but again, anything can happen. It's at home. We're undefeated in the space game. But you said something earlier. 11 of the 12 players on basketball are new. They're going to have to figure out how to play together. I don't know that it's going to come that easily that early in the season against Texas A&M. So I think there's going to be a growing pain period for that basketball team. So I'll take Arizona off those two options.
At Friedman SR, if at any point through the remainder of the season Gus pulls out the "we need to coach better," what's Trace's NIL number to ask which coach is Gus firing? I thought you guys liked me a little.
I can't answer that one. That's on you, buddy. I can't answer that one for you.
I'm just going to keep asking what's on my mind, and we'll see how. By the way, it should be interesting in Iowa. I'm not sure that the media contingent will be very strong for this one, so I'm making a couple extra questions of Gus. At UCF XOS Andy asking, would you rather dress out in Kobe's outfit, Kobe's uniform, or Lee Hunter's equipment? Which would you rather? If you could put on one suit of a uniform, what would you rather wear?
Well, they both wear number 2, right? So I think that's what he's asking. I think Kobe wears a little bit of the crop top situation. I'm not anywhere near a crop top in my life.
Well, why do you still wear them?
I mean, sometimes you just need to let the skin breathe a little bit, but I'm not in the crop top phase of my life. You can clip that if anyone needs to.
You don't clip anything that you say.
Earlier, you said you're always high, by the way. And so I don't know if you heard yourself say that.
No,
I'm not going to clip it though. I'm not going to clip it. I'm not that kind of guy. But so yeah, I don't want to crop top this thing. So give me big old Lee Hunters.
Yeah, I think it's a little more roomy there. At Night Fan 94 is the fact all fall sports underperforming concern you. It ain't good. It's not good, though underperforming, but somewhat in line with expectations in some cases. I think the soccers are a little underperforming. Volleyball was not expected to be very good. I mean, certainly football. It's not the right kickoff to the sports season, that's for sure.
I'll bring you back, Trace, to an interview you did with one Terry Mohajer at Big 12 Media Day, where he said he expects UCF to be a top 10, top 20 athletic program in the very near future. That looks further and further away as each day passes.
Interesting. That's some off-season content for us. We could just take old interviews and play clips and react to them, as some have done this week, and reacting to that ESPN article on Gus Malzahn from Auburn. I thought that was a really interesting read. Even some of the names are the same and how things went south at Auburn. Trending in that same way. At L025, what's your favorite horror movie and or franchise and why? Don't like horror movies. Don't watch them. I don't want to be scared.
I'm not a great fan of horror movies. The two I wrote down were I did like the scary movie franchises, the early ones. Those were funny enough. And I've got a for all of you who are maybe consuming movies in the mid 90s, early 2000s. I got a banger classic right here. I feel like my man Dolly will have this one too. I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Two fantastic movies. Jennifer Love Hewitt back in those days.
Oh yeah,
it
was Scream Light, right? That was the same basic.
Yeah, no,
thing,
but not though. Jennifer Love Hewitt, Dolly,
yeah,
exactly.
No,
Dolly
solid.
knows. Dolly
yeah,
knows.
no, she's very talented, as it were. So, at Man Pendo 1, is it too depressing and repetitive to ask any football-related questions? It is. In the spirit of the season, how do you like your Reese's peanut butter cups? Room temperature, refrigerated, or frozen? Can I acknowledge something here? I've never had one frozen. I've got to try that. I've never frozen.
Yeah, this is going to be the moment that comes back to haunt me for many, many years. I don't eat peanut butter. Don't like peanut butter. I don't eat peanut butter
in
jelly.
Any form.
I don't do peanut butter.
No peanut allergy situation.
Not that I'm no. Oh no. Actually, I like a good almond. Like, give me a good almond. Like, it's nice.
Is it the texture?
Yes, it's a texture.
It's a texture.
Not a peanut butter fan. No. So if there's Halloween.
So you've had a peanut butter cup or never?
Is
this long standing? Is this since you were a kid? Is this?
Yes, this is a long time. Todd, I'm open. Like, what is there?
Is this somehow involve me, Todd?
I don't know. Do you know Todd? Is this?
Yeah, I know Todd.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, does it involve you, Trace?
I don't
You have a
know. I
chance
don't
to confess
remember.
right now before.
All
Todd-
right, it's that time again to find out what's
Todd
in the box. The segment I dread
spills
every
the
week.
beans. Yeah, let me get that ready for you here, Trace. Here, there we go. Charlie Hustle, TEN1215 is how you get 15% off your first order. Only 2 left here.
Andrew Cherico in the chat asking chunky or smooth peanut butter to me. Usually smooth, but I most recently bought crunchy.
Right hand or left hand? There's only 2 left. I'll let you pick. Right hand or left hand?
It's not going to be good. Right.
Right hand it is. All right, here's the question. Ooh, I see. I think you might like this one. I can see this one now. Let me gotta open.
Have I liked any question that has come out of the box?
I don't really know. If you were in danger, what is one thing you would say so others knew that you needed help?
I don't know. One thing in danger? If I was in, I don't know.
Like, what's a code word that if you said it, everyone would go, "Oh boy, Trace is not. Something's wrong." So if you're like, I love the
Gus, I like your play calling.
Okay, there you go. That's how you play the game, Trace. You were doing it good. So if you said,
Coach Roof, I like how you've distributed the tasks.
Gus
The
is
alarm
a
for
genius play caller, then we know Trace is in trouble. All right, see that now you're playing the game. I think it's something around the lines of you say you like the cows or something, right? I think that would be one where someone's like Trace is in serious trouble.
Yeah, that is definitely not the case. Yeah.
Distribution of task.
Yes, Mr. Jericho.
That could be a good one. Yeah, I think I'd have to go something with the cows, right? Would probably be, or I love peanut butter, I suppose, would be another option.
Yours.
Yeah.
All right. We put together a nice tidy show here. I have enjoyed being back with you on Sons of UCF Live. I have a 7:05 flight through St. Louis into Des Moines. Same ride with Matt Michelle, the Orlando Sentinel. We find Robert, 2 letters, 2 words, flying from Dallas into St. Louis. We'll be on that connector to Des Moines. Got a full day planned ahead of us in Des Moines, and then the game Saturday in Ames. And, it's a night game, which means the 6 a.m. flight out of Des Moines is going to hurt a lot.
I'll get on the Suns travel department. I'll make a phone call. I know you've got that rec in for a video change. I'll get with the travel department and see what we can do about that.
It should come as no surprise, by the way, women's soccer falls to TCU. Perhaps it was the 4 goals surrendered that could have been a factor in that one. I want to thank Derek Hallman. I want to thank Eugene from the Des Moines Register. Looking forward to meeting him up in the press box Saturday in Ames. Anyone traveling to Iowa, be safe. Shout out to us. Maybe we'll catch up in Des Moines or Ames. For Adam, I'm Trace. Go Knights!
Charge on.
I'm Blake Bortles. Thanks for watching the Sons of UCF.
Was that 2 years ago, that one? Because it was windy that day too, right? Because it was kind of stormy. It looked like that was 2 years ago.
I wouldn't give to have Blake Bortles back right now.